Hey guys, Jeff here. Now, if I'm honest, I am just tired. Now, I mean tired in a few different ways. One, I'm tired because #dad life. But two, I'm just tired because I am exhausted with watching Christians interact online. So I'm not a huge fan of like ranty type videos. If you go watch my 100+ videos, you'll realize that I don't really do that. But sometimes I just want to be honest and vulnerable with you guys and just kind of share without a filter where I'm thinking. Now, I think it's always been like this, but I've noticed it even more so in this political season that Christians, followers of Jesus, people who say they love Jesus, don't act any differently online than people who say they don't follow Jesus. But every aspect of our life should be different. We should be full of love and compassion and grace and peace, and blessing should be coming out of our mouth. But so many times when I go on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, it's so much full of vitriol and sarcasm and people just being rude and mean. And here's the truth of the matter. A few things. First off, people who are judgmental usually wouldn't think they're judgmental. So that should be a window or a mirror, for all of us to look at ourselves and say, man, of course none of us think we're like this, but can we get better with our speech and our mind and our heart and how we are interacting with people? Secondly, when you look online, people are so much different online. We say things in a way where everyone else is kind of in a vacuum. We dehumanize people, and that's just not okay. And honestly, I just don't think we take the Bible verses about division and disunity seriously. The Bible has a ton to say about Christians, followers of Jesus, brothers and sisters in Christ, fighting against each other, and all of it is condemning, meaning it all says that is not good, that is not okay. It hurts the witness of Jesus. It hurts your witness. It hurts my witness. It hurts everyone's kind of actions towards trying to show who Jesus is when there's disunity. Why? Because one of the main things the cross did is it invited everyone in, and it was very inclusive, in the sense of we are now one family. All divisions, man and woman, black and white, rich and poor, and all these different things are now crushed in the sense of they are now all equal in their access to following Jesus and having the grace of God, because it's free and it's a gift and it's given. And I don't want this to just go on and on, so I'm going to say just a couple things. And the first one is we see Paul in the epistles say, let there be no divisions among you. In Corinthians it says, let there be no divisions among you. There's no room for error there. There's no room for beef or whatever you want to call it. Now, I don't know why I just said the word beef. For some reason, whenever I say the word beef, I think of the Ja Rule of 50 Cent beef in the 90s, and I just totally showed my age right there. But if that was you, let me know in the comments. Anyways, ADHD tangent, back to the topic. Let there be no divisions among you. There's no room for us to have division. Why? Because the way we interact together as a family of God tells a story about who he is. And also Corinthians says, think about this. Corinthians says that Jesus, we are his body. That when you're a Christian, you're kind of wrapped up into his body, or another word to call that is we're his church, his bride, or his body. Now, the hard part about that is when there's division, when the body is separated, when the body is sick, when the body is fighting against each other, who hurts, right? Well, the main person hurts, and that would be Jesus, because it's Jesus's body. So who hurts the most when Jesus's body is ripping apart? Jesus does. That's what we need to think of first, right? If we say we love Jesus, then we need to understand that when we are hateful or vitriolic or sarcastic or have divisions in our heart against other family members of God, he's actually hurting the most, right? Not to be graphic, but like if my arm starts severing and just ripping apart from my body, those tendons and the muscles and the bones, that would be the most painful, excruciating thing ever. That's metaphorically what it's like when we are dividing amongst each other for Jesus, right? Who hurts the most when we divide? Jesus does. He bleeds. It's his body. And so we need to keep that in mind. Now, secondly, the Bible uses the language that we are the family of God. Now, as you maybe know, if you watch this channel, we have a 2-year-old daughter, and we have a baby boy coming probably within like 3 to 4 days of me posting this video. And I've seen this with even parents with multiple kids, right? What you see is when there's 2 kids fighting, the parent hates it. What's interesting too is it doesn't matter what the kids are fighting about first, right? Like it's not like the parent hops in and tries to figure it out first. There's something in their heart where when they see the 2 kids fighting, they're grieved, they're sad, they're hurt, and then they jump in, and then maybe they can then kind of make it amicable or solve it or see if they can find unity. But the first kind of response in their heart is grief, is hurt. And if God's our Father, for the family of God, when brothers and sisters are fighting, his first response is not, oh, well, they're right, they're wrong. It's hurt. It's pain, it's grief, it's being bummed out that his kids are fighting. And then lastly, another one Jesus says is he tells his disciples one thing about how they will be known across the world, how they will be known as Jesus people in the world. And he says, you will be known not by your doctrine, not by what you believe, not by how you post on your Facebook statuses, not who you vote for, but he says you'll be known by your love. By your love. You will be known by how you love each other, he says. Now, don't get that twisted. That's not like a fuzzy word of like, oh, how you're gushy about each other. Love in the New Testament specifically has this committal type definition to it. It means a commitment to the highest good of the other person. So what's going to show us as followers of Jesus? Well, Jesus says our commitment to the highest good of our brothers and sisters in Christ, which means even when I am dividing with someone, or even when I really strongly disagree with maybe huge type issues of doctrine or certain things, if they say they're a follower of Jesus, if they love him, if they've been baptized into his family and they're part of the family of God, it is my job to commit to that person, to commit to say, I'm going to stand with you, I love you, I'm here for you, and even though we disagree. So I'm not saying don't have discussion, by the way. We can have disagreement, we can have discussion, but there's a way to do that that's just not like 99% of the way we do it. And in that, I can love that person and that person can love me, and we can say we're committed to each other. Why? Because we're telling a bigger story, and Jesus says how we love each other, how we commit to the highest good of the other will show that we love Jesus. And think about how big of an opportunity that is with the world, right? The world, when there's division, when there's disagreement, people peace out. I'm gone. See you later. We're no longer friends. We're no longer whatever, right? You become enemies then at that point if it's a big enough disagreement. But what would it be like if the world saw millions, billions of followers of Jesus and said, they're different. The way that they don't split apart, the way that they don't divide, the way that they still love each other, even in hard disagreements, that's something special. I want that. I want to know what's going on there. And then they start to ask us questions. So we have to keep that in mind. And so I know this video is kind of all over the place. And so I'll just end with this. I really want all of us, myself included, to just every day when we're typing something, when we're saying something, when we're tweeting something, when we are believing something and then we see someone who disagrees, to first check our heart and say, what story am I telling with this relationship? How am I interacting with them? Is Jesus being magnified, or is he actually being shown less? Is his body ripping apart, or is it actually coming together? Is it sick or is it healthy? And God, as the Father, would he be stoked on how his kids are interacting, or would he be excited because we're showing how good Jesus is? And so I hope in this Easter season specifically, because this video is coming out a day after Easter, that we would see that the resurrection unified us. It pulled us together. It kind of is recreating this new world where love is the centerpiece and love is the unifier. You guys are amazing for watching. Hey, real quick, I want to tell you about a huge opportunity. First of all, the book I recommend this month is From Eternity to Here. It's blowing my mind. You can check it out up there. Also on Audible, it's completely free with a 1-month membership if you go to audible.com/Jeff. Y'all know I love Audible. It syncs across all devices. You can totally check it out for free. Keep the book even if you say, no, I don't want to do the membership anymore. So check it out, audible.com/Jeff. When you check them out, it helps me out as well. And the fiction I want to tell you guys about is Bridge to Haven. That's a fiction book that is my favorite. I couldn't put it down. I read it in 2 days. If you want one of those books to devour, that is the book for you. You can get there free as well, audible.com/Jeff. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next week.